Is this thing going? Do I look over there? Okay. Did I have any idea that YouTube was going to be sort of a success story for me? No way, absolutely not. There was no indication whatsoever that anything I did on YouTube was going to gain any sort of attention or views, and it's definitely been fun while it's lasting. Yep, plus it's a way to meet chicks. My wife, is my wife here? Why did I do tech addiction? Have you watched any of my videos? Seriously? Have you seen my office? Have you seen the amount of crap that I have? The hell was that? It really is just pathetic, the amount of crap that I've accumulated technology and computer-wise. So I sort of figured, why not just do some sort of a show that I could be proud of, and it gives me an opportunity to look like I have an excuse to be surrounded with all this stuff without it being just completely pathetic. I figured I can't be the only one that's interested in this stuff. There's got to be at least 5 or 6 more people out there that care about the things that I care about. So I went ahead and did the first Tech Addiction, and it was a success. I started getting all sorts of comments and messages of people saying, I love this show, I love the show, so just do more, give me more, give me more. And that's what I did. Why did I stop doing Tech Addiction? I get asked that a lot. And I've honestly lost a lot of subscribers for people who just really loved Tech Addiction, and that's what they loved about my channel. It was one of those things that I feel was just way ahead of its time. It just wasn't getting the return on investment. It was one of the hardest things I had to do on my channel, was to quit doing Tech Addiction, which I honestly loved doing. Here we are now, closing in on 12,000 subscribers, and it hasn't even been a year yet. JayzTwoCents, I just dropped my mouse. JayzTwoCents Tech Addiction headquarters has not even been around for a year, and I figured it's time to give the viewers back what it is they want and what it is they love. And when I tweeted out that I was considering doing Tech Addiction again, it was like Michael Bay just invaded my Twitter account and did his explosions and things, and for about 2 hours straight, my phone and my Twitter account and my emails just didn't stop ringing. And even if I'm the only one watching, and we're gonna do it bigger and better than ever. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and get things rolling here with Tech Addiction episode, who gives a crap? We're back! We've got your crazy tech news, it's JayzTwoCents, and this is Tech Addiction. Hey guys, you're watching Tech Addiction, it's JayzTwoCents, and we're back! And we're doing this thing again. And do you ever sometimes feel like you just forget how to do certain things? Like, why am I holding this bottle of water? But we're back and we're doing this thing, Tech Addiction. Once again, I feel extremely rusty. I kind of have no idea what's going on. I'm kind of freaking out a little bit here because there's a lot more of you watching than there was last time. And I'm a little nervous. It's kind of scary. It's hot in here, oh my God. But we're back and we're doing this thing, and if you remember some of the old Tech Addictions, I had a nasty habit of reporting on Apple news. And what's ironic about that is Apple's kind of been out of the news until recently, and that's how we're gonna start off this edition of Tech Addiction. Tim Cook, the current CEO of Apple, was recently summoned to Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. to account for its tax practices. The IRS thinks that Apple has been just a little bit dodgy when it comes to its tax practices because it is currently holding $102 billion in company assets and revenue outside of the country.
With all this growth and investment, to the best of our knowledge, Apple has become the largest corporate income taxpayer in America. Last year, our U.S. federal cash effective tax rate was 30.5%, and we paid nearly $6 billion in cash to the U.S. Treasury. We pay all the taxes we owe, every single dollar. We not only comply with the laws, but we comply with the spirit of the laws. We don't depend on tax gimmicks. We don't move intellectual property offshore, and use it to sell our products back to the United States to avoid taxes.
Tim Cook basically looked right in the face of the United States Senate and the IRS and said, we're not breaking any laws and we're going to keep our $102 billion outside of the country until you start enticing us to bring some of that money back. So probably one of the coolest inventions I've seen in the last decade is the 3D printer. A 3D printer is a device that is able to take strings of plastic and melt it and form a physical object out of it. You can make statues, you can make jewelry, you can make just about anything. And Americans were polled on whether or not they felt that 3D printers are something that they should be allowed to own. 62% of Americans felt that they should be allowed to own a 3D printer. 29% felt that they should not, and 9% were undecided. Now that doesn't seem like incredible news until you consider the fact not only can you make cool little knickknacks and things out of it, people have actually been able to make a plastic, fully functional operating gun. And because of that, the United States government has been fully involved in going and confiscating gun blueprints and 3D printers of those creating guns. So those same people who were polled about whether or not Americans should be allowed to own 3D printers were asked if Americans should be allowed to print 3D guns. And the poll was a little bit different. 44% felt that you should be able to have the right to print your own plastic gun. 53% felt that you should not. 3D printers are becoming more mainstream. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think you should be able to own a 3D printer? Or do you think you should be able to print your own 3D guns? This is a hot topic that's been around for quite a few years. I'd like to hear. So on Tuesday, the 21st of May, Microsoft held its reveal event for the brand new Xbox console named Xbox One. A lot of people have been asking for my opinion about this device. I wanted to see if there were any last minute press releases regarding the Xbox One. Maybe Microsoft wanted to clarify a few things. And I'm glad I waited because Microsoft has put out a full Q&A on the Xbox website regarding the most common questions asked after the reveal event. Now before I get into that, I'm going to go ahead and talk about my 2 cents regarding the Xbox One. I like the concept of the media control center. I think it's kind of cool that you can control your TV and your Xbox with gestures and hand movements and throwing gang signs, particularly like taking your fingers and stretching it out and being like, what up? I'm controlling my TV. This is my hood. But can you imagine the remote control wars that would be happening in front of the Kinect? Currently, if you have an old school system like I do or a Logitech Harmony remote, whoever has the remote, they're God, they're king, and they're controlling the system. But now you're gonna have people fighting over and doing all sorts of stuff and trying to control the Xbox, and people are gonna start fighting and punching the Xbox, not gonna know what to happen, and it's gonna explode. I personally don't do fantasy football or fantasy basketball or baseball or any of that crap. I'm not a huge sports watcher. I don't need to have ESPN stats up while I'm watching TV. The fact that it has a built-in Blu-ray player is kind of nice because it would allow me to eliminate a whole nother component inside of my entertainment center. Unfortunately, it wouldn't really reduce the amount of components I have because it's not backwards compatible with Xbox 360 games, which means I'm still going to have my Xbox 360 in my entertainment center, taking up more room than my Blu-ray player is. No backwards compatibility. Well, that just sucks. We don't know what pricing is going to be yet, we don't know when it's going to be launched, and we don't know what countries it's going to launch in first. So when they talked about the actual availability, they should have just said, it's going to be available later this year, at a price we haven't mentioned, in countries that are yet to be determined. First and foremost, I think one of the biggest things people want to know is Xbox One backwards compatible with 360 games? And the answer for that, unfortunately, is a disappointing no. You see, Xbox feels that in order to get better gaming experience with future hardware, they felt that they had to change entirely the way that the drive works, the way that the developers code, and they don't feel that Xbox 360 backwards compatibility fits in there. This is something they could have done, but I feel that for whatever reason, they want to just completely alienate the 360 from this brand new media device. That's what I'm calling it, a media device that can play games in order to get the most amount of money out of you guys. Players want to know what's going to happen to their old gamer tag on their Xbox Live account. What's going to happen to their achievements, their gamer score. Well, fortunately, all of that stuff is going to transfer over to the brand new Xbox One system, and it's not going to change anything. You're going to have your achievements, all your Xbox 360 achievements, your gamer score, everything that's in your account now, you're going to have with Xbox One. Which brings me into the next question. Do you have to have an Xbox Live Gold membership to use Xbox One? Their answer was no, you don't need it, but of course there's going to be a lot of features and things that you use on Xbox One that are only going to be available through Gold membership. What I thought was really cool though is they did go on to say that one Xbox Gold membership does work on both devices simultaneously. so you don't have to have a separate membership for One and for 360. They were asked straight up about the always online requirement, and they said no, you are not required to have the internet at all times to use Xbox One. However, they kind of dodged this question a little bit, because they did go on to say there are some game modes and some features that are available on Xbox One without an internet connection. But they recommend having an always-on internet connection because of the ability for Xbox One to be able to read your thoughts and watch you through the Kinect and spy on you while you sleep and watch you do all your dirty deeds through the Xbox Kinect sensor. I would assume that when they say certain game modes, we're talking about multiplayer is not going to work. That's a given. Probably any of the gesture stuff or any of the voice command stuff is probably not going to work. They're just like Siri on Apple. They're going to try and get as much information and as much money out of you as possible by simply saying, oh, you got to have this to have this. They did end it by saying, we'll have more information on that later. Okay guys, last but not least, it's my favorite part of the show and yours too. It is technology's dumbass of the week. Or in this case, there's two dumbasses of the week. You see, Nathan Teclamariam and Carson Reinhardt in Fresno, California, just last week, accidentally butt dialed 911 while talking about buying drugs and then committed burglary on a vehicle while on the phone with police dispatch. Just listen for yourself.
911 state your emergency. 911 state your emergency.
What's your name? I'm Nate. Yes, it's you.
Hello?
I just want to smoke weed so bad right now. If the bulge can give me a hammer just in case. They're north coast, yeah. We'll go back in a little bit and search the whole thing. But we'll park far away, you know? He's like behind me, dude. Oh, he's following me, dog. He's following the out of me, bro. Wow, what the did I do?
Good evening.
Good evening, what did I do?
I'll have you step out the vehicle for me, okay? Do you have anything in the vehicle that should be in the vehicle?
Not at all. I'm just grabbing my phone.
This will really call 911. Huh? I said this will really call 911. That's already. Damn.
Nathan Teclamariam and Carson Reinhardt, you are Tech Addiction's dumbasses of the week. Okay guys, so that's all I've got this week for Tech Addiction. I'm so happy to bring the series back to my channel. It means a lot to me that you guys want it. I want to bring it to you guys. We're gonna try and make it fun and exciting, and as always, give me some articles that you think ought to be in Tech Addiction and submit your tech dumbasses of the week. And if your dumbass of the week gets featured, I'll give you a shout out. All right guys, take care, and I will see you next week on Tech Addiction, or my next video, or a live stream, or Twitter, or Facebook, or whatever. I'll see you guys later.